Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are thriving or finding ways to thrive under the circumstances we find ourselves in. You know, with this COVID and all the other crap going on. It's crazy because someone actually said, and I read a news report, and I don't even know if this news report can be trusted, okay? But I read a news report saying that the hospitals in Los Angeles, that they're actually rejecting ambulances. Now, I don't know how true this is, okay? Because we know the media lies. That's what its job is. It's not to inform you, it's to, deceive you for the most part. Most media. You know, most of the media is designed to deceive you. But anyhow, that's beyond the point. You know, I kind of look at what the male and the female dynamic in relationships, and mostly the black male and female dynamic, you know what I mean, in the relationship world and marriage and things of that nature. Because I'm going to be real with you, okay? I'm not a dating coach. I'm not I'm none of that. I'm not like a relationship guru or anything like that. I just observe things. I just, listen to people, soak up game from them, and, go from there. But, I look at the relationship dynamics right now, and I just say that because of certain factors, some of the factors we've done to ourselves, other the factors have came from the outside, and we've let infiltrate into our space. You know what I mean? But I look at the dynamics and I say it's all out of whack right now. It's really out of whack. So I'm gonna tell you a story that really fucked me up. Okay. And I was at the African market, buying my goods, buying my stuff, and like your little provisions and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, an elder pulled me to the side, and he just wanted to talk to me, and he asked me if I was married, and I said, nah, I'm not married. And I told him very much I'm a free agent. And whether we want to admit this or not, okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. Everybody wants companionship. When the first man was created, Eve was created. In our language, we know her as Hawa. Hawa was created. So, there's no denying that, people want to be together. I mean, if that wasn't the case, then why would, there be a female that was created? If there wasn't any need for a female, or if there wasn't a need for Adam, upon him be peace, to have a female, you know what I mean? Because otherwise it would have just been a planet full of us, males. If there was no need if God didn't create companionship, But this elder pulled me to the side, and he gave me some advice. He just sat me down, in the chairs in the little market, and he just said, I give you this advice because you remind me so much of my little nephew. And mind you, we're talking in our dialect, And so what happened was, he told me that when you get married, you should never let your wife or your kids know if they're more financially well off than other people. And you should never tell your wife and kids how much money you have. And so I began thinking, because in the Western world, that's what we're taught. We're taught that, the finances are one of the most important things, and that, a wife is entitled to know everything about her husband's finances. In fact, like in a lot of these relationships, unfortunately now it's come to a point where a husband has to consult with his wife before he even buys something. This is happening. He'll call, like he may be at the store or something like that, and mind you, this is his Gouda. He'll be like, well, honey, I'm gonna buy this, and the wife might say no. You're not gonna buy this. Okay, see what happens if you buy this. That's actually the times we're in right now. Real talk. And so he said these things that you should never let your kids know, or your wife and kids know, if they're more well off than others. And you should also not let them know how much your wealth is. So my natural reaction is, how come? Because we are taught that that's something that needs to be said. He said, and again, this fucked me up, okay? He said that if they see people around, right? If they see people around, like let's say they're surrounded, because especially if you're in the West, then you're going to be surrounded by materialism so much so if your wife and your kids see other families better well off than they are, the elder said that they're going to look at you in a despicable manner. If you're just say like let's just say an average Joe, like let's just say you're an average Joe, you're giving them everything they need and things like that, but you know that having extra is kind of like not in the program, right? So if they know that, then you're going to be looked at as as despicable, pathetic, and they're not going to really respect you, he said. And I'm like, damn, man, that's some heavy shit, Then he said there's the flip side to it. If they know that you are rolling and you got guap, he said they'll never be satisfied. He said no matter what, they will never ever get enough. He said that no matter, he compared it with many examples. He said that, when the new shoes come out, the kid is gonna want them. When the new, let's just say the new phone comes out, kid's gonna want it. When the new handbag comes out, the wife's gonna want it. When another handbag comes out after that, the wife's gonna want that too. And if you say no, then it's gonna lead to dissension, and it's gonna lead to them like disrespecting you. Because I don't care what nobody says, the man is the provider. Okay, because if you let the woman provide, then you're putting yourself in a compromising position. You're gonna give away your power. Okay? So another thing he said about that, if you let them know that they have a lot of money and things like that, and they're well off, then that can create conceit, and it can create arrogance as well. Because no matter what, we live in a cruel world. And so if you have all that money, they may use it as a defense mechanism. Like, because kids are cruel. That's just the bottom line. So when, like, let's say when your son goes to school and things like that. He's fly. He has all the new gear on, just to avoid getting like bullied or getting, like ridiculed or something. Because let's be honest, kids ridicule other kids based on clothes and things of that nature. He may partake in that, and you may have not even taught him to do that. Then goes on to say that, when you do that, they don't learn the learn the value of hard work. So that's another thing that happens, if you're to do that. So I asked him, and I just came up with reasons why he would tell me that. And I think about experiences that I witnessed and things like that. And I realize there is wisdom behind what he says. Because, for example, unfortunately, there are guys who will let women take advantage of them. So they think that, their money and things like that, that this money is going to win those women over, spending all the money on the woman and things like that. And then what happens is, he was raised to be a nice guy. The guy who spends all the money on the woman, he was raised to be a nice guy. He was raised to help people out. So he helps a woman out. Like, let's say, like, he pays her bills and stuff like that. That may not be his woman, but then what happens is that she knows that he has his money. She knows that he's well off and things like that. And so she's just gonna ride until the wheels fall off. And I'm not saying all women do this, but since we're in this Western society, it is numero uno objective for a lot of women. And I'm not saying all the women do this, okay? I'm not really, I can't group all women together, right? I'm just saying from what we see, from the reality TV, from the social media, and things of that nature, And so another thing that we must talk about in regards to that I recognize too, it's that when you spoil a kid, when you spoil them, they usually grow up to be delusional. Okay? When they grow up to be delusional and things like that, they usually end up like the Kardashians. They were spoiled. They like to point this narrative that they worked hard and stuff like that, but they never worked hard in a day in their damn life. Okay? Most of what they had was handed to them. Right? And it shows in their behavior. They are not humble. They are very haughty. They are very arrogant. And they are entitled to privilege and try to get away with anything possible that they can get away with. And unfortunately, and this is unfortunate. This is very unfortunate. Unfortunately, a lot of black people kept them relevant. All right? So he moves on. And he tells me, you got to take care of your people. You got to make sure that they're fed. You got to make sure that they're well clothed. You got to do that in a balanced way. And you got to do it in a way in which they don't know what you're holding. That's what you have to do. Because what's going to happen, unfortunately, and this is what a lot of these Western women, they find out you're holding, they're gonna want you to roll out the red carpet. They're gonna be asking for a new car every single I want to say every other couple of months. They're gonna want a new car, and that comes down to the fact that they want to show off to their friends too. If they have a clique of girlfriends, then what's gonna happen is they're gonna say, my husband bought me this, my husband bought me that, my husband's gonna do this for me. Because they're in competition with other women most of the time. don't let it fool you. A lot of times these women might act like that they're friends and stuff like that, but for the most part they're in competition with one another. You know, you see it on these reality shows, the Real Housewives of this, the Real Housewives of that. A lot of times they're in competition with one another. You know, and a lot of times they're talking about each other behind each other's back. Very few sincere friendships exist between women and guys too, unfortunately. You know, unfortunately, a lot of guys have became emasculated and they act like women too when it comes to friendships. They get jealous if another nigga come up and he doing his thing, stuff like that. Act very much like females too. You know, so I understand where the elder was getting at with that. You know, so I'm gonna follow that blueprint. You know, when it comes to my family life, when it's time, you know, when God says, okay, it's time, nigga, I'm gonna follow that blueprint. You know, another thing he said that, like, but I guess he wanted to say it in a different way, but he kind of, I guess it was lost in translation. I guess you can say that. But what he said is that when it comes to your wife and when it comes to your children, they should revere you. He used the word fear, but I think he meant revere and respect you. And you should make them revere and respect you, not in a violent way. But he also said that your temperament should be easygoing, but not to the point where they think they can walk all over you and they think that you're gonna fall for any BS. So this elder, man, I really mess with because he's trying to, like, and I think the core thing that he's trying to strike with me is find the balance. If you find the balance, you'll be okay. You'll be able to deal with this. You know, you'll be able to deal with your wife, and you'll be able to deal with your kids. You know, don't lean too much one way. That's what his point was. You know, and I think that's good. I think that, and again, you know, this comes to African manhood, man. This comes to an African husbandry. You know, and so I understand. You know, I really understand. But, you know, the West has dumbed these things down. The West really has. And then what happened in the West is, like, with this feminism movement and things like that, these women feel so entitled and feel so compelled to do all types of things. And then another thing that happened was the sexual liberation crap. No means no, but you're walking around naked. Sexual liberation, but you want to be lewd. And you think that it's your right to be lewd. But then you get mad at a guy when he doesn't want to settle down with your ass because you've hit the wall one too many times. And yeah, guys are guilty for partaking in it. You know, but guys at the end of the day have more physical needs, more or less so. But, you know, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But it's not really looking good, relationship-wise. It's not really looking like it's going to be conducive, you know, for many people. But, you know, I still have a little bit of glimmer of hope. You know, I would be kind of foolish not to keep any kind of hope alive. So, you know, I'm going to keep some hope alive. But, you know, it remains to be seen if things are gonna change. But it may get worse, honestly. To be completely real, it may even get worse. But anyhow, man, that's all I got for now, man. Foolish signing out. Leave your thoughts and leave your comments. Njarama.